I'm not doing the one video. Hey everybody, how are you guys? Mark, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing great.
The link that I just posted, this is Mark's PayPal for Harry. If anybody can donate something, it is greatly appreciated. It's Mark, you can tell everybody what you do with that money and all the things you guys are doing.
Yeah, like I said, we got that's the direct link for the PayPal. There's also a Venmo. You can also go to First Iowa State Bank in Albia and make a deposit directly at the bank at the for the Harry Dennis Milligan account or the fund. Like I say, what it's used for, we've done a lot of things. We did a lot of signs that we put out. Wristband signs. We put up some big billboards. We use everything for a lot of the money goes for those type of things if we need them. Um, the big thing is like I say, it's reward money. If somebody was to come forward and say, "I know what happened to Harry Milligan. This is where he's at," and that leads directly to finding him so we can bring him home. I'll write you a check for every penny that's in that account at the time. And I know right now, I think it's roughly off the top of my head, I want to say it's about 26,000 and some. I mean, it's over 26,000. I've got quite a bit of money actually deposit. We collected a little bit today out of our donation boxes. I know the one
You
at down
didn't
home.
come to the store.
I know we didn't get it. We was kind of in a hurry. I was we was kind of buzzing through town. I got off work early, had a dentist appointment, so we
Yeah, because you've got
marched through
some, like I
town.
said,
They had contacted me because great people up there. Chris and them are just outstanding. Actually, he explained to me today they're doing the new rolled ice cream thing, up there. Which if you ain't had that, you're missing out because it's the bomb. But basically, as the owner of the store, he said he don't like to take tips. So he said anybody that wants to leave a tip, he just hasn't put it in the Harry thing. So it's a big deal. It may
well,
help.
go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. And so it got full. He got a hold of me and said, "Hey, can you stop in?" And of course, we got the granddaughter this weekend. She came down yesterday, and her and I'm unsupervised tonight, so I got to watch it because grandma and the granddaughter are in the other room doing a Superman marathon, trying to watch all the Superman marathon or all the Superman movies while she's here. So
Oh
uh,
my gosh, that is
they've been
funny.
watching them from sun up to sundown. I'm like, okay, but yeah, that was what she wanted to do, and they've been doing that. But I had to run to the dentist, so that's why I ran through and just picked up the stuff there at Down Home Creations and got that
Yeah.
done and got back home. So
Well, I was just telling Punksy knows, and I was just telling Mark that I'm usually a little bit more organized, but it's been quite the day. Jim's mother, I was at the emergency room with her until 2 o'clock this morning, finally got to sleep about 3 because she had a heart attack. And so they transferred her to the university. Actually, it's Mercy in Iowa City. It wasn't the university because there was no beds available, but she's fine, thank God. And she had a stent that was 100% blocked because she had 2 of them put in quite a while ago, like 15 years ago. And so I didn't get home until just a little bit ago. And Mark's like, "Do you want to maybe do it another night?" And I'm like, "No, I think we should just get on because Mark, I have a lot different subscribers than what I had before. So a lot of people on here, they don't know about Harry Milligan. So I think
okay.
this is great that we're, talking about him. Will you tell the people in the chat all about your brother?
Basically, what the situation in with Harry. I'll kind of do a summed up version of things. He was, 21 years old. He, graduated here in Albia in 1981. Um, Messed around, did some different jobs here and there. Ended up going to call well, ended up going into the Marine Corps Reserves. Then once he got out of there, he went to college down at Northeast Missouri State, which is now Truman. I think Truman State or whatever down in Kirksville. Was going to school down there. He was having some of the typical 21-year-old issues. A little bit of drinking, party life, trying to get all that sorted out and doing the right things. But for the most part, things weren't too bad. I guess he's doing all right. Had some grade issues and just going through them regular growing pains that we all do. Was out of school. Had come home. He basically had it made because he could go to school, come home on the weekends, hang out with his friends. Most of his friends were at school, so they all kind of came back and forth together. Came home the weekend of June 30th, 1984. Worked for Steve Matty painting some houses, which is a job that he had for a while that summer. Worked that day painting houses. Got off of work, came home, talked to my mom a little bit, kind of made some plans to do some things to help her the next day. Left to go to town with no real set plans, just basically, doing what we did when we were young, going out and looking for the party and hanging out with everybody. Went out that night at 4:45 in the morning. He was last with three friends of his that he associated with. They say they dropped him off at his car near the library in town, which that sounds kind of funny, but the library was located right by one of the local bars. So everybody thought they were smart and they parked over by the library so the cops wouldn't think you were at the bar, which, everybody's different. But, when you were young, you thought that was, I'll park over here. They won't know I'm at the bar. So that's why he got dropped off at the library. The last three individuals with him gave a statement 3 days later about dropping him off, seeing him drive away, and nobody's ever seen him or his car ever since.
Yep. It's and when I was in another chat earlier, her name is Gold Star Mom, and her son was in the military and he was killed. Very good person. I really like her. But I was in there talking with them a little bit, and it was, I'm hoping she would come in because, with Harry being in the military, you was in the military, but
I'd definitely like to hear a story. I know I watched
she's actually going to do a video on somebody else's channel to talk all about her son. That's why she started her channel. But we did this thing, and it's as she wanted to know what brought us to YouTube. And I said, well, the Chris Watts case brought me to the community that I was in. But what I wanted, I didn't think, but I started my channel for Harry Milligan because nobody was talking about him. I'd lived in this town 6 years before Mark walked into my store, him and his wife, Lori, who are now very good friends of mine. And they told me the story, and I couldn't get Harry out of my mind. And I still today can't. And it's so frustrating because you see all these people on YouTube and they're talking about the cases that everybody else is talking about. And hold on a minute. Jim's home and he's talking. Yeah. Hold on.
Yeah. Allison's been nothing but Harry's probably one of his number one supporters from the minute she found out about this. I mean, what her and Jim has done is absolutely amazing. I mean, they've helped us out so much. So yeah, go ahead. You're back.
I don't want anybody. That's not even, there's, Harry, I wish I could have met him because like I said, if he was anything like you are, he was an amazing young man. Oh, but nice. Like I said, I couldn't get him out of my head. And I just wanted to, talk about him and make people talk about him. So
and that's been the whole goal from the beginning, talking to you. And that's why I asked you about doing this again tonight. We've been a little while to where people ain't seen my face, I guess, not that they want to see me, but just kind of wanting to catch people up and let them know, hey, that, this ain't going to die out like it had for years. it's going to keep going, and we're going to keep looking at things. And, and I know with the page, I've talked about several times of kind of taking a reset on looking at everything and how I'm looking at it. And with doing that, I really think I tried to take all the emotion out of it and just start looking what is all there, what it really says and what it means, and okay, what's trying to sort out what's the truth and what's not the truth out of everything. And I think that kind of an approach has made a world of difference to me, at least in my mind, as far as me being able to sort out some of the rumors, the just crazy wazoo stories that come up and different things. I mean, nothing's out of the realm. We don't, because we don't know, but it definitely is turned things around in my mind as far as what I'm looking at and what I'm doing with things. Chaos Divers here was a huge help. That eliminated at least a multitude of places to look.
And they was awesome. How many times they were here? 2 or 3 times?
Well, they've actually been here 3. One of them I didn't even really know about, but they came the first time, which we did all the the well-known major bodies of water. We done all the pretty much rumored bodies of water. Some of the places that had been caught up in the rumors over the years. We got a lot of those out of the road. And then the second time they came back, we took a little different approach and started looking at, okay, if you look at the statements that were given and the things about that night, where are the places Harry possibly could have went to? Of course, coming home. Of course, one of the things, I think 2 of the guys that were last with him mentioned Denny Hollenrink's name, and said maybe we should check with Denny Hollenrink, or maybe he went looking for Denny Hollenrink. So, assuming that Harry would go, which he was very familiar with, go out to the Weller area where Denny lived, we started focusing on those kind of routes. We have cleared every possible. I mean, you got to with Jacob and Lindsay and Eric, they have a whole different outlook on things, or a way of looking at things than maybe I do. Their theory is, that's what they do. They look in water, and most commonly with missing people in their vehicle, a lot of times they end up in water. So that was their things, and they started looking at different places and different routes. And we started knocking on some doors, making some phone calls. We got into a ton of different places. We went out around the Weller area, searched ponds out there that were, possibilities or in question locations. We went as far as going down to the river, because there was even conversation in the statements of Harry wanting to go to Ottumwa that night. So they went down to the river access on both sides, checked down there for vehicles. Everybody who's on the site saw they actually located a truck down there on its top, been stolen. I think it was stolen back in 2017, that they recovered out of the water. When they called me, when Jacob called me, he said, hey, I don't know that this is Harry's or not, but I'm looking at my sonar, and the shape of this object, it's definitely on its roof, and with 4 tires, it could be close to Harry's car. Well, it was a full size pickup, but which would be close to the same size as a 1977 Grand Prix upside down. So we cleared all that out. They left for a little bit, did some things, and actually they come back. I didn't know they had come back. They come back and wanted to do the river access down at Eddyville, and they went down there, and the water was just too shallow to get up around the bridge and some of the places down there where they wanted to. So they tried that, had some issues, ended up going on and doing their thing some other places, going back home for a while, I think, at that time. But now, I'm in contact with them pretty regular. They're going to come back. There's been, now with our focus of those routes, there's still an area between La Villa, and the Weller area that definitely has some locations that are of interest and that I want to search. Um, so they're going to come back and we're going to try to do those. I mean, there was one we really tried to do last time that unfortunately the property owner hasn't cooperated with me. So we'll figure out what I got to do there and see if we can get into that old strip mine out there. But we'll figure it out one way or another.
Yep.
And I know they've got a brand new boat. We had some issues the last time they was here with a blow up boat that got a hole in it on my trailer trying to get it down to a pond. So we ended up borrowing, Jerry Castor's little pond or a little John boat and did some stuff with it. Now they've had some great steps forward. If anybody pays attention to them, Chaos Divers, they're similar to Adventures with Purpose. And in fact, I think today or yesterday, they actually located somebody in a vehicle working alongside Adventures with Purpose. But they also, like I say, they got a brand new boat, and now they have what's called a little buddy, which is you'd have to go in there and watch some of their videos or watch their.
I put their link in the comments to YouTube or Chaos Divers link.
I mean, they've got what's called a little buddy. It's Tammy and Debbie Waters are like the gurus that started all of this sonar searching. They've worked real close with Jacob and Lindsay, and they kind of helped them get this boat. But it was kind of something that they had set up to begin with. But really, what it is, to make it short, is they've got a remote control boat. They can basically walk up, throw it in the water, stand right there and search. It's not a matter of getting a blow up boat and a 4-wheeler and a trailer and doing all this. It's something you can carry. You can walk right down to the water, drop it in where you want it, run the sonar, check everything out, and get it back out of the water, very easily, I guess. So that'll make it much easier for foreign ponds and the stuff like we have here. That's been some of our issues, has just been getting to some of them. I know they did one side of the Star Coal Company out there, was one of the places they searched. So it's just back to that same with them, and the way I deal with things on their side of things. It's all just a process of elimination.
Yep.
Some of the bodies of water, are they places maybe people have pointed out to me and said, hey, you might want to look here, you might want to check this out. Sure. But for the most part, it's all a process of elimination.
Yep. Crazy Mama said, this is what you call love. Mark will never give up on Harry until he's home.
Well, absolutely not.
Never. Oh, we're going to bring him home. It's just when, and
I do think things are coming around,
Yep,
I mean, it took a while, before the first time Chaos Diver was here to get a rapport built up with law enforcement. At one point, things weren't real well. We've had some communication. I know they're looking at a few things. That's about all I know at this point. To be really honest with that. And I mean, I get that,
Mark is a retired, I was telling them that all about searching because you are a retired, sergeant. So he knows exactly.
Law enforcement. So that's kind of what I'm back to now is, I tried to take all the family, all the feeling out of all of it and just start saying, okay, look at it like you would if it was somebody else, somebody else's family. Tough to do, but it's now starting to make things make sense. And it's also, I've been told everything, even from law enforcement. I had, Deputy Worth that's worked the case and done a lot of work, on some stuff, kind of woke me up a little bit when he said, I've been told people are lying to you about what they're telling you so that you'll look in a different direction, to distract you and look somewhere else. So that really kind of woke me up a little bit because I thought, well, I know they would lie to him, because he wears a badge. I mean, I figured that out in 21 years of law enforcement that, 9 times out of 10 people ain't going to tell you the exact truth, until you get them pinned down to something. So that kind of woke me up a little bit and made me start going back and looking at things a little differently and trying to sort out, okay, out of these people that have stepped up, and it's awesome that they have, as long as they're truthful. You know, if somebody's doing it to, to run me in a different direction or run law enforcement in a different direction, well, I guess the way I look at that is, someday you'll answer to God to that one, but, and I can't help that, so I now am looking at things that people have said, people have done, and just saying, okay, what makes this true? What don't make it true? Can I prove what they're telling me is a lie or false, or misleading? I hope it don't discourage people from coming forward, with what they hear and what they know, because I do know a lot of it is, maybe hearsay or rumor or a little piece of something that you don't think is important. It's not that I don't want that, but I just, with the information over the years that I've compiled, because I've got, Alice, I got notebooks of stuff. I got, a computer full of stuff, going back and just looking to see, okay, what ones go together and which ones can I prove are true and which ones aren't, 38 years later, it's not been too long ago. I was told, maybe I'll talk to this guy. I kind of blew it off, I guess, or didn't think about it. Finally got a hold of him, talked to him, and, think he's probably, completely as upfront and honest as anybody can be. And he's like, I walked out of that bar at 2:00 in the morning with Harry. He said, so I know where he was at 2:00 in the morning, and I know he was headed to his car, so it's the little things like that that add up, just that one little thing that said, okay, I don't know, for a long time, I didn't know from 10:20 at night when Darwin Thomas sees him till 4:45 in the morning or 4:30 in the morning. I know nothing, basically, so now I've been able to piece in little more pieces of narrowing, things down and seeing that, is what people have told me the truth and is it not,
Yeah. I know it's you look at all those years, it's frustrating, but your love for him will definitely it's bringing you a lot more answers, tell him about the benefit that we did in July.
Oh yeah, I mean, we did a benefit in July. Was awesome. I mean, people got together. Allison, some other people all got together. They wanted to have an event to try to raise money for the reward fund. We had not a silent auction, but an auction. We had a motorcycle ride. We had trying to think everything that went on that day. It's been such a while ago, but yeah, I mean, they had a huge header. Had Jake McVeigh there that did a concert there.
It was nice.
I mean, it raised a lot of money. It raised a lot of awareness. And that's basically what I ask now. I mean, the people from, around the country, because I can't answer everybody back. I see all the comments, but I don't know how to answer everybody back all the time, or to comment back to everybody on everything. But it's about getting it out, getting the story out there, and having people just question things. I mean, I wish everybody could see everything that I know or everything that's been put in front of me, so that everybody could look at it and go, okay, I see this or I see that. That's kind of where I've been moving toward things a little more, is hopefully trying to get some of that out of there. I mean, if some of it is there. If you go back on the Facebook page or the Facebook group, a lot of things are there. But I really want to start taking the things that are known from that day. Well, not even that day. I'm saying, just even a little prior to that, to Harry being in college at school, up through the night he come up, and start looking at all the people around Harry, what they've told me, what they've said, and trying to make more sense out of it, or prove that it don't make sense, I guess that's the main thing. I mean, I don't know if that makes sense, but
Oh, it makes sense. It does.
I
And
mean, there's
I'm
just a lot of little things. I mean, there's little inconsistencies in statements from people. Um, and I get memory issues, but I'm 57 years old. I don't. I mean, I notice now that my memory probably ain't the greatest on some things, but I guess I thought, I've always thought that if it was my friend that I was around that night or I saw that night, and all of a sudden within a day or two, um, I find out that nobody's seen him, nobody's heard nothing, nobody knows what happened, and for 6 months, a year, 2 years later, uh, I think if I knew something, I'd say something, and I think I'd remember that forever. I would remember that night forever. I mean, maybe not everything quite as crystal clear, but I would remember everything. And that's just what is so strange about a lot of this is, lack of memories and the inconsistencies and stuff like that. The people that I think should be accounted for. I know as of the last time Chaos Divers was here and people talking to me and all that stuff. I know Harry was involved in a poker game that night. I know I'm pretty positive on that. I think it's related to the Mike Klaus, Mike Stalker, all that. I'm going to guess probably in the game, but I don't necessarily know that story is the true story,
yeah.
Because
Well, you found out so many different things after all that.
Right. And once you find out something like that and a person comes to you and say, hey, I was there. I know Harry was involved in a card game. I know a group of guys that, we all come from La Villa and we were there. And a couple of those people were involved in the card game, but those people have never said nothing to me. That's the part that is just so strange to me is, okay, why not? What reasoning is there behind that? I mean, other than you don't want to be guilt by association, I guess, and nobody, I guess that's the first thing that everybody needs to understand is I could care less on guilt by association. I could care less on I witnessed something. I could care less, about anybody really being in trouble. It's 38 years later. I just want to find him and bring him home. I'm not, if law enforcement can get to a point of holding somebody accountable, so be it. Let them do their thing, but that's not my side of it. My side is I just want answers, want to bring him home. And I finally figured out that rather than just chasing a whole story, that if I start trying to figure out the motive behind why Harry's missing, then maybe I can find the answer.
Yep.
And that's the main thing. I mean, there's just too many missing pieces and little pieces that even,
And we are in a true crime community, you guys.
This week. I've talked to people this week that gave me little pieces of information that you're like, what, why not before, or okay, well, now that I've got this piece of information, it shows that this piece of information might not be accurate. I mean, so it helps you sort everything out. And that's, it's back to that same thing of getting people to talk till it hits that one person that says, oh, wait a minute, I remember seeing him here, or I remember talking to him there, though that little piece of information just might be the one thing that sets everything into motion. I mean,
yeah. Crazy Mama says, say his name, Harry Milligan.
Yeah.
I dropped the Facebook link again, you guys, and all the information is on that Facebook group. You can go back and there's everything that Mark is allowed to show, because I mean it's still an open case. So there's only so much he knows, and there's only so much he can show. And with being in a true crime community, somebody's going to figure it out.
And like I said, I'll be very honest. I have Harry's case file, all the way up till December 22nd. Yeah, December. What did we meet? December 18th or December 20th of 2020.
Yeah.
I got every bit of information. In fact, kind of confused on that, but I have more information than law enforcement has, to be
And
honest with
isn't that's what's
you.
crazy?
And I mean that seriously. And I had the same police case file that I had for years, probably since 1996, 7, when Sheriff Merrill gave me the file and said, "Here, copy it, read it, go through it. If you see something that I don't know about, or something that makes sense to you that I didn't catch, let me know." So I made a copy of it. I had it since 1997. I requested another copy of it, when all of this kind of got started again, and when we started using social media and all these different outlets to push Harry's story out there. I requested another copy of the file, and I have probably 35, 40 more pages than what they gave me.
Yeah.
And I just don't, I mean, I don't know if that was information they felt they couldn't give me or whatever. I don't know, but I mean, and I'm not saying anything bad, but I've got everything, plus all the information of people giving me over the years. Um, it's just a matter of, I wish I could share it with, if anybody wants, something specific or has a specific question, just ask me. I'll be more than happy to answer it. I'll be more than happy to, that's kind of what I've been trying to create on the Facebook page, is a little bit more of getting other people's opinion. I know one of the gals that helped with the event, Mary Lou, she brought up a deal the other day about sitting down and just having a tabletop meeting with some people and laying everything out there and saying, okay, let's brainstorm, and figure out what we see, and those type of things.
Well, and you remember when I started telling people to ask me any question and then I just dropped the ball on that. I didn't do that anymore. And I need to start. You need to start. We all need to start. If anybody has a question, even
That's
on YouTube, but on the Facebook page, and the Speak Truth with Love wanted to know what state, and Crazy Mama said Iowa. Yeah, it's Albia, Iowa.
Iowa. Yeah.
He went missing July 1st, 1984.
Him and his car both have been missing ever since, which is one of the stranger things about it. I've talked to experts on missing persons, and they said, 98% of the time in a missing persons case, it involves a vehicle. The vehicle is found, and then a lot of times, not all the time, I think it was like 96% of the time, it said the person is found somewhere near where the vehicle was located. They said it's a 2% chance, that it's very rare for both a person and a vehicle to come up completely missing. Normally one of them, normally the vehicle at least is found. So they've got an idea of maybe where somebody last was. And that's
it's crazy. And
just not knowing where he's been hidden.
He had a big old boat.
So 1977 Grand Prix, literally, what, 17, 18 foot long. I mean, you could about have an apartment in the trunk of the vehicle, I mean, it's that big of a vehicle, and to just come up missing off the face of the earth. They did, ISP originally, they done, air search where they flew the county and around the area trying to find a vehicle, thinking that maybe it was, had crashed into a ditch. There was people, deputies, there was people out. I know, like I said before, I was here. I come home out of the Marines and was home 55 days, and I drove. I would have to say I probably drove every single road in Monroe County and then some. Just me and buddies stopping if we had to, and getting out and looking. Okay, is there something down in this big ravine here? So I mean that a lot of people still say they might they could possibly find him somewhere. Is it a possibility? Sure it is, but I just think with, you got to understand rural Iowa and the farmers and the mushroom hunters and the deer hunters and the people that are rock hunting and bottle hunting. And, there's not much of this area around here that ain't been stepped on a few times by people, and I would think by now somebody would have, come across his vehicle if that was the case.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
I was looking at speak the truth with love's comment. Yeah, it's exactly right. I mean, most departments, Iowa had a cold case unit back in, I want to say 2011 to
They're
2013,
still
maybe.
working on getting one, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, there's legislation trying to get it done. It didn't quite make it through this last time around, but that one died out in 2013, and we just haven't. There's never been one since, and I absolutely, not to talk politics or anything like that, but if we can send billions of dollars to Ukraine, we could send billions of dollars to states to pay to have cold case units and set one up in every state in the country to help find the thousands and thousands of missing people out there. Put our money here where we need it, not someplace else. But that's just my little political statement, I guess.
Well, well, I mean, that's just it. There's how many people in Iowa that are missing now? That still
Right
have
now,
not.
I'm going to say it's right around 300, if it's not over 300.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
just Iowa.
you know, it just it's sickening, and then it's um, you hear a lot, and I get it. I was law enforcement. I get it too. I've become friends with Josh Wellman's parents and David McAllister's mom and some of these other people out there. You know, uh, you know, Ty right from south of us in Centerville, talking to his mom and family.
Yeah.
They get so frustrated at law enforcement because they don't think they're getting any help, and I hate to say it, but it's not always that case. I mean, sometimes I think it is, but I think a lot of it is just resources. There's no resources once somebody has gone missing, and they're gone missing for, in my opinion, if they're gone missing for more than a week to 2 weeks, and it's going to sound really bad, if they're not from a well-to-do family, I guess is the way I look at it, or somebody important in that community, uh, they get forgot about. We've done what we can do, and they go on doing their work, and it just don't get looked into anymore. It kind of just falls by the wayside, and to me, it's sad, and it's really created from the missing person family perspective, really created a bad taste in everybody's mouth of how they get treated because they don't understand. Uh, to a mom, what's more important? Looking for her kid or doing anything else? Taking some drug addict to jail, or somebody selling drugs there. What's more important, finding their kid or doing that? Well, of course, in their mind, there's no doubt it's finding their kid, but they don't see no resources getting put toward that. So, it's just sad. I mean, I'm not going to get on
Yeah.
I'm not trying to bash anybody by no means. It's all a political thing, and someday, hopefully, there'll be money and things to help with that, and then you take the other side of it, like she was talking about there, Harry being a Marine. I was a Marine for 7 years. I got several friends that are Marines and different things, and I just can't understand how um, the Marine Corps, you know, don't do anything to help with their resources for especially for, and not just any military. There should be something set up within the military that if any person in the military comes up missing at home, we need to find out what's going on. We need to help, man. That's the hotline actually, but now it's probably getting political calls. But yeah, now all I get on it right now is political messages or vote for this or vote for that. So, but I just can't believe that there ain't some military resource out there. I mean, I've been fighting for since the beginning of going on to social media and really looking at things. I still have yet to been able to come up with Harry's military records. And I think that's just sad. I mean, you can give me the COVID excuse all you want. You can, you know, I don't even know. I'm so tired of that aspect of it. There's somebody that's helping me. She's been working on it so diligently, trying to come up with those records. She's talked about every, you know, I don't know, political person out there, uh, trying to figure out why we can't get them or why we haven't got them yet. And I don't know, I don't think they're the golden answer to finding Harry. But I still think that, that's a piece of the puzzle that needs to be filled in too.
Well, yeah, I mean, him being military, they were paying for his college. You would think that they would have maybe done their own investigation, or did they just take law enforcement's word when they said we're working on this, or we think he may have took off, whatever. I mean, you have every right to know what the story is on that.
Right. I mean, there's been rumors of people here being interviewed, by the military. I mean, so if that's true, there should be a record of it somewhere. And if it's somebody that's already in Harry's story, that gave a statement to law enforcement, okay, I'd like to see, do those statements match up? Are they the same? I mean, but when you can't get them, what do you do? I mean, I can't say somebody's lying, that they did or they didn't, when I can't even get the records to say one way or the other.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. I hope you guys go over onto the Facebook page, and there's other videos out there. There's podcasts, where like I said, I was not organized tonight, but I think we just once or twice a month, we need to do a video to talk about it and keep his name out there.
Right. Keep his name out there. And I want to keep everybody in the know. The more people know, the more they can talk, the more they can maybe find out information and pass it on to me. Or, if they're not comfortable getting a hold of me, pass it on to law enforcement, and that way somebody's got it. So it can be looked into to see what maybe piece of the puzzle, what it does. I mean, it's frustrating, I mean, that's probably why I wanted to kind of do the video tonight when I first talked to you was, my biggest fear is people not talking, you go so long where, there for several years, everything went into a lull of nobody really doing anything or looking or even caring, I mean, and once we got it, the public and everybody woke up to it and back on board with it, I don't want to ever see it go back to what it was before. Because I do think that most of it is just, pushing it out there and getting it to that right person.
And that's what I said. It's going to take one person. I truly believe that I just feel like the answer's right in front of our faces. And I don't know why, but I've felt like that for a long time.
There is, and I believe that completely. I believe it's right there, and that's, like I say, that's why the reset. That's why they're going back and looking at things. I'm going to start sharing some of what I'm looking. I'll share anything. I don't care, but I mean, I want to try to break it down so people can see what I'm doing and how I'm doing it and how I'm looking at things, and get people's opinion to see, okay, does this look right? Does it look wrong? Something look wrong with this? Does this statement look wrong? Those type of things. Start breaking it down that way, so that everybody sees it, and maybe, the people that do know start to feel that pressure of, oh crap, they're figuring this out, and I don't mean to say me, but that's why I say, we've said that many a times, it takes a village, and I believe in this case, that's what it's going to take. It takes a village to find the answer, and as long as that village is still answering and looking at those people that names come up and saying, okay, wait a minute, this don't make sense. We might be friends or whatever, but what you said here and what this don't, all this stuff don't make sense.
Yeah. Speak with Truth with Love. Chaos Divers. I put their link and I'll do it again. They actually have videos on their YouTube channel and Facebook page looking for Harry.
Yep.
She said the video of the water searches would help get to generate interest. And yeah.
Exactly.
And then Punksy has a question.
Yeah, which I don't. Let's see.
Do you think the government has anything to do with it?
Personally, no. I really don't. I mean, I don't know why they would. I mean, I've had people suggest that to me. Did he get chosen to go take part, or did he volunteer to go partake in some kind of special operations thing with the government, with the military? From what I know of the military, yeah, I mean they do some things where I've seen guys get called up and told, hey, you need to be here at such and such a time. We'll tell you what's going on later. And you pack up, go there, and you don't even, you can't tell your wife, your family, nothing, because you don't know nothing. And then they send you off somewhere to go do a mission or do whatever, and nobody knows where you're at for a while, and you come home, a month later, and everybody's like, well, what the heck? I mean, but at least they have the knowledge that that's going on. I mean, the family may not know where you're at, but they know you're doing something. And I just don't see, even if it was even real top secret type of a deal, of them never saying anything, and letting a family, especially my parents, suffer for, 20, 30 years and have him declared deceased, at some point through the courts. I just can't see the military letting that happen. If they did, it's not the military.
Well, plus, your sister passed away a month after.
Yeah, 1 month after Harry
been there.
Yep. She was home dying of cancer. She had cervical cancer. She was home dying of cancer. My mom was taking care of her at home when Harry came up missing. And she died, like I say, 30 days to the day after Harry came up missing.
Speak Truth with Love says the location of his body will probably be incriminating to someone, which is why people don't talk or give misinformation.
I think you're absolutely correct on that one.
Yep.
I've said that all along. Sometimes, I've switched back and forth. Like I said, I think motive will find what happened to Harry. But I think at the same time, if you can find Harry's car or his body, then that's going to tell you which of these stories is true, or if it's something, just completely different. But yeah, I think if you could find him, then you could backtrack things to know, okay, here's who's involved and those type of things.
James Cole says, has everyone at the poker game gave a statement?
No, none of them have. Actually, because like I say, there was no, a lot of people don't understand that when this first happened, the only information that law enforcement had for years was 3 of Harry's friends picked him up near the bar or near uptown somewhere near the bar or whatever, uptown, picked him up. They rode around for 2 hours and a half, had a 6-pack of beer, was bullshitting, and they dropped him off. Failure, and not bashing law enforcement now. I will bash law enforcement in 1984 because when they took their initial statements from these guys, it was horrible. I mean,
my grandson could have done a better job interviewing some of these people.
They absolutely got no detail. They didn't go into, okay, where were you before you met Harry? Who were you around before Harry? Who did you guys see when you were with Harry? Where did you go? They basically just let them say, hey, we picked him up. He got in, rode around with us for 2.5 hours. We dropped him off, saw him drive away, and that's it. That's all we know.
Maybe that's what our next video should be on, is going through the case files and the interviews of the people that was at the poker game that night, just to show the subscribers what a joke the
Yeah.
interviews was.
Yeah, I have no problem. We can post up the interviews that I do have. There's I
Yep.
think a total of the primary ones. There's a total of four. You got Denny Hallenrink, you got um, Steve Rockwell, Jeff Adler, and Doug Matty. There's all statements which were taken from them initially. Roughly 3 days. I think July 3rd. Uh, is when they actually talked to them and got some kind of statement out of them. You'll see. Um, they're just, I couldn't imagine, and I get it. Law enforcement was a whole lot different in the 80s,
That's just what
compared to what it is now. That's for sure.
Speak
But
Truth with Love says law enforcement investigations have changed so much over the past decades. Training has improved greatly.
oh, definitely. I mean, just in my years, in 21 years, by the time I left Atumwa, where I was at, if we took a miss, I mean, it was kind of crazy because they took it so serious, and I loved it. Being a part of a missing person's family, because yeah, you do get some of them where it's little Johnny that got mad at mom and dad, runs off to his buddies, and he ain't coming home, so they call the police and do a missing person on him, and you find him an hour later, and it seems like a big waste of time. But the one thing that I will say is, like where I was at, if you took a missing persons report, if that person mentioned any name, any place, anything, you was mandatory. You had to make contact with that person and get their statement, talk to anybody that they told you, or go to any place that they mentioned. You had to go there physically and look for that person. I mean, it was just almost completely to the extreme because, which was great. But, the big thing with probably the biggest difference between now and then is technology. Nowadays, you know, this great little cell phone you carry around, everybody knows where you're at all the time. I mean, there's no doubt about it. That's made missing person cases so much easier, and video. I mean, there's one of them shows that I was watching the other night, and they was talking about how watched are the American people, and they said I think the statistics were that we don't realize that every person is on camera 36 times a day somewhere. Wow. Whether it be in your vehicle driving down the street, and like a Tumble, we had 20 some odd cameras in the Tumble running at all times. And then you take every business has got a camera with cameras on the corner. Every store you go into's got cameras everywhere. You got Ring doorbells. I mean, I got 4 cameras at my house. So I mean, if you think about it, just moving around in society nowadays, you can be tracked down pretty well. I mean, where back then nobody had them. I mean, I work for the police department now, and I think we had, that I remember, maybe 2 or 3 alarmed businesses that we ever responded to. I mean, there was some that I'm sure had them, like the banks, and occasionally they would be set off or something. But even like the gas stations, the old gas stations and some of that stuff, they didn't have no alarm system or camera system. And now, all they got to do is reach under the counter and hit a button. The cops are on the way, and everything you're doing is on camera. So it made it so much easier. It makes it easier now. That's what, a couple of the people that I've become friends with, it just got me kind of baffled. I need to do, I wish I could find Harry so I could help them more. Because, there's some, from one of them, I understand there's some video of the last place this kid was, and then nothing after that, and it's like, okay, he didn't leave a major store and go nowhere where there was video. Did the police not follow through enough to check enough,
Wow.
Check other places, or what? Or did somebody drop the ball? Or, is there the possibility of being able to track where this person was, even, better to give a better location of where they last were? So,
hey, Mark, Speak Truth with Love said that training has greatly improved, and Anarchy says that should be more of a reason to look into this again. And then James Cole his question is, was there a reason why chaos divers searched parts of Red Rock, or was it Jacob's gut feeling?
Pretty much Jacob's gut feeling. They did boat ramps that would be coming from this area up toward Lake Red Rock, to where Harry could have went up there. I mean, Jacob initially, if I remember right when we first talked, and I'm sure he would correct me if I'm wrong, but his first ideal looking with things was and it sounds weird until we actually talked about it, was suicide. And it's like, well, how do you commit suicide and get rid of your car? And he said, if you go somewhere and sit where there's a boat ramp, and you're distraught over things in your life or whatever, and you put your car in gear and drive in the water. Or you go there because you are distraught and you've been drinking and don't realize it, and you just pass out. And the next thing you know, you're in the water and can't get out. So I mean, just different aspects of how different people look at things. They did the same thing at Rathbun. They went down. There was a certain area of Rathbun near the marina where Harry, Denny Hallring, Stacy, it's a Gibbler now, but Stacy Runyon, they were all friends, and they used to go down there and hang out a lot, and just, do what 21-year-olds do, or, teenage kids, high school age kids do. They used to go down there and hang out and spend time down at the lake. So they went down in that area and searched all around, the boat ramps here. Like I said, it would take them weeks to search all of Rathbun. I mean, which I'm sure they were willing to do if we thought it was going to be, something that would pan out. But, it wouldn't have been likely for Harry to drive clear to the backside of the lake and something happened. So they went down there and searched some of that. And then there's, I think the video footage I even put up on our page or on our group, of the pontoon boat they found down there.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I mean, at first you're like, looking at it at first when Jacob sent me the video, he's like, I think I got a car, and I'm like, really? And then, I'd been out with them on their boat and looked at, watched, and they were showing me what he's showing me what they're looking for, what he's looking for, and how the process of trying to eliminate what something is. And he sent me the video, and I'm like, holy crap, that does look like a car, well, when they get down, dive on it, they figure out that, it's actually a pontoon boat, so, it's amazing what they do. And it's just, that's what I'm looking for. I mean, like some of the posts I've put on there recently, I've talked about, people asking questions or, putting things out there. And I know people don't necessarily always like to comment where everybody can see it, but I want input from people too of, what do you think? What's a viable thing that you think that maybe could have happened, or what an opinion you formed from the information you've heard or known, because it may be something that I haven't looked at. I mean, I think I've looked at a lot, but I mean, you just never know. It's back to that thing. Just from 2:00 in the morning on, I don't know where Harry was, or which way he went, or I mean,
I've seen it to where, the file on Harry, it's huge, and when you're looking at it, it's sometimes you're thinking, everything's, all together, and you're not even really concentrate because there's so much and you're looking at it all the time. So you get somebody that is going on Facebook and looking through everything that you guys have put out there. And it's going to take that one person to say, hey, maybe you need to go check this, because we have the Google Earth maps now. People can go all over and look for different ponds, and it's, the internet and stuff is really good when it comes to stuff like this.
Oh yeah. I know with chaos divers, they do a lot of drone work too. There's a lot of drone video that they shoot of bodies of water and all that stuff. And we actually, looked at some places with drones and different things. I talked to one of the kids that was a reporter, I think, for KTVO. I need to get back with him because he's actually I was kind of surprised. Young kid, you can tell, very tech type of kid, but was leaving the reporting business, I think, and starting a business of using a drone to film weddings. and being able to, do all this aerial footage and different things that, some of these people with these drones, do some amazing things. And I talked to him about it. I said, you ever thought about just using that to search for things like cars? I said, I've been sent so many pictures, from here in Monroe County of properties that have vehicles sitting on them. Just there might be 10 vehicles, might be two, might be, 20 of them, and some of it's just, old property owners, farmers, whatever, put their vehicles back on the back corner of their property to, because they don't want to get rid of them, but they store them back there, but they're all over the place. And I've had people send me all kinds of pictures, and there's just no way I can't, I don't have enough time in the world, I don't think, to go to all these different properties and say, hey, can I go back here and look and see if there's a 1977 Grand Prix, maybe sitting back here in the woods or along this tree line. I talked to him about, what would he be interested in doing something with along those lines with a drone, because as long as you stay at so many feet, and with these cameras, these drones, God, hell, you can look right down and you can definitely tell what kind of car something is. So I need to get back with him and see. That's, I'm glad I don't know how that come up for sure, but but I think that would be a big business, for somebody, or just like Chaos Divers and them do. If there was somebody that could, to go to different areas looking for vehicles and be able to shoot drone footage and look, I think that would be huge.
Yeah. Yep. Speak Truth with Love says, I'm not a fan of theories on YouTube for current cases. I don't think a lot of us are, most of us. But in your case, I agree. Theories could be helpful.
Yeah,
that's what I said. Like I said, you're willing to look at anything because for 38 years, there's been nothing. And it's just letting people look and care. That's what it's, just show that you care. There's people that care still, And
to her question, that, or your statement there, you're absolutely right. I think that's where I've made some mistakes, is by forming theories of things instead of just looking at facts and saying true, not true, how do they add up, that type of thing. It's been easy to start looking at theories and chasing all of them. I guess there, when we kind of started this, I tried to narrow it down to, okay, what's the ones that make the most sense, and maybe looking at them, because, if you're on my side of the coin, one, you don't want to just blow any of them off, because you just don't know when there's limited information. But to chase theories is mind-boggling. I lose sleep every day because my brain's running 100 miles an hour over a message somebody sent me yesterday or the day before, and okay, wait a minute, does that fit into this? Or, oh, well, dang, should I be looking over here instead of looking at this? When you're on this side of it, it's easy to do. And I'm like you, I don't do a lot of the true crime stuff, but I have been, with being friends with Allison, I listen to most of hers, all the time, which are very interesting. And I can't wait for this Dahmer one to ever get done, because I got to watch that and see if that's all the craziness that people say it is, because I've heard that's quite the show to watch and pretty gruesome. So I got to watch it yet, but I've listened to more of them, and I'm not saying bad. I'm not here to badmouth anybody by any means, but if you start listening to all the true crime podcasts, you're right. The theories are just unreal, and some of them I don't even know. Is it just to have a theory and think different than somebody else, or are you looking at the facts, of what's really actually there, and not creating something out of it, and that's what I'm trying to do now with like Harry's case. I don't want to create nothing out of it. I just want to look at, hey, here's what's there. Here's what I know. Here's what I've been told. And this is what it points me to, and I'll be very honest, from what I've been doing lately, it's pointing me in a very different direction than what I initially started.
Yeah.
I mean, without, that's where I don't want to create theories either. I mean, that's why I don't want to say a whole lot, but I think if, like I say, we all start looking at different things, it's all going to start making a bigger picture. I mean, some of these things, people are talking. It takes a while, and little things come from those conversations, and they start narrowing things down. And for the people out there that want to say, oh, you need to figure this out now because, um, you know, most of the people that were involved with this are dead. They're my age. My brother was 2 years older than me. He was 60 this year. Yeah, I got a couple friends that have passed, and I know Harry's probably had a couple friends from like his grade pass. And there's always people in town. You know, no, they're the people that know what happened to Harry. They might not be the ones who've done something to Harry, but the people that know what happened to Harry, they're still alive. They're still out there. They're living in their world, hoping that uh, God gives them a pass someday. I guess I don't know, but
Yeah.
they're still
John,
the answers are still right here.
yeah. Johnny Kramer wants to know, he's like, Mr. Mark M, was that car your brother drove brand new from a car dealer? Just wondering.
No, it was actually bought. I want to say I've got the information because I've got all the paperwork on the car and everything else. I want to say, without going back and looking right away, I think it was bought from a. It might have been a small dealer, but I think it was it had been previously owned by somebody, but it was bought out of Missouri, I believe.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's been in the system. It's been Carfaxed. It's I mean, uh, from day one. So I mean, as far as law enforcement ever coming across that, not to say it ain't been cut up in little bitty pieces or crushed back then. Who knows? I mean, there's a multitude of things that could have happened to it. But it's been in the system forever.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know. I think,
it was
like I
a
said,
somebody asked. It was a Grand Prix, a 1977 Grand Prix maroon. All maroon. I didn't have had a sunroof. Um, fancy aluminum rims or whatever for back then. I mean, it was a nice ride. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. I might have borrowed the keys to it a couple times when he didn't know it. Took it for a ride. But, it was a nice car. It was something that most people didn't have. I think there was one other car in town similar to Harry's. So it kind of stood out. There wasn't a whole lot of those around back then, and I don't think there's still a lot of them out there now. So.
yeah. You don't see them. They'd be pretty good derby cars.
Oh my! Oh yeah, it was a boat. Yeah,
It was. You ain't a kidding. You hit that, it wouldn't be going nowhere.
yeah. That was made
I
of
mean,
real
that was
metal.
a big car. I don't know. It's just,
So I think you got the right idea, Allison. Like I said, I thank you for talking even tonight with everything going on in your world right now. I mean, I hope Pat's great and everything works out with her. But I think you're right. I'd like to, every couple of weeks, whenever you got some free time and I got some free time, just getting back on here,
yep,
and
once or twice a month.
hopefully some of your viewers are come over to the site and start
Oh,
looking
they
at
will. I
and things,
promise.
asking me questions, doing whatever. I mean, if there's something that you're curious about, bring it up. If I can't answer it, somebody will. I guarantee you that. Nobody on there is shy about uh, answering something or anything, but just to try to keep things alive. I want to keep everybody up to speed, and like you said, maybe having a little focus next time of, okay, let's start, taking an individual and their statement and breaking it down,
Yep.
and seeing, and putting together and say, okay, let's call this, is this true or is this bullshit, I think we start from the very beginning, which
I do too. Just like
start
we do.
yeah, let's start clear back at college. Was there something that happened there, that led up to something happening on the night of June 30th, July 1st,
Yep.
or was it, if we can rule all that stuff out, then we start, looking at, okay, what happened on June 30th, that night that triggered somebody to do something to Harry, because I'm just, I guess I'm positive in my mind that Harry didn't up and leave and go to Alaska.
No.
I'm not saying he still couldn't be in a body of water, because there's still a few that I want to look at, and I'll start dealing with that. And I think we're making plans of around March of Chaos Divers coming back, and spending some more time here doing some stuff. And of course, like I say, they also got a bigger purpose too. I mean, it's a great purpose that they have. They started their whole thing with searching bodies of water just to get old cars and junk and stuff out of body waters to clean up the environment. And then,
Yeah.
that's how they started. Adventures with Purpose started, and just grew into what they are today, and I mean, so they're going to come back. I know that. I'm going to be putting out some maps showing people, okay, here's the areas that I'm looking at, because it helps me get property owners' names and those type of things and contact information. And I also want to put out, I'm working on some maps. I've got a new plat book now of Monroe County, so I can kind of go through and mark off everything that has been searched, and highlight maybe places of interest, and put that out there to everybody, so that, everybody can help me, I mean, and help
Mark,
them, but,
James Cole just put, I have a small inflatable boat, same as Chaos Divers and AWP. We'll be hitting lakes up towards Des Moines, weather permitting. Already did Diamond Lake.
That's awesome.
That is very awesome.
Yeah,
Thank
I mean,
you.
that's amazing, and I mean, if you make it down this way, let me know. Get in touch with me. Like I say, right now, everything, the biggest thing right now is vegetation on the water with the dry summer that we've had. Some of the vegetation growing, and I'll be honest, some of the ponds that were of interest, we got permission to get on property, walked up to it and went, yeah, there ain't no car in there, because there wasn't but about a foot of water in the darn pond. It's like, obviously no car in here, so some of it got made easy that way this summer. But yeah, James, if you're down in this area, get a hold of me. Anything that helps, I mean, and like I say, if that's what you're getting into and doing all that stuff, that's amazing. I mean, there's no better people than, Chaos Divers and Adventures with Purpose, and the people that are out there, doing their part to give families closure.
Oh, absolutely.
I think when they were here last, in 9 months, they'd found 11 bodies. So I mean, to me, that's 9 families that got an answer.
Yeah.
And that's all I want, just an answer. I ain't out to hold somebody accountable. I just want an answer.
Yep. You just want to give him a proper
Right.
burial.
Exactly what he deserves. So
exactly. And so yes, Mark, we're going to be more organized next time.
Yeah.
And we're going to start from the very beginning. And you guys in the chat, I will make sure I get it scheduled. And if you guys know people that they know people, bring them all here, because it's not about building my channel at all. It's about finding Harry.
Right. And like I say, one of there's always people that have specialties and things. I mean, I've had people reach out with PIs and different things that that I've reached out to, and we've tried to set things up to work with. But some work, some fall through just because of money and distance and time and different things like that. But there's a lot of different things that if you have some kind of specialty, or know a family member or a friend that has a resource that would help me or help any family of with a missing person. I mean, one of the main things I've always wanted to talk to is I wanted to take a few of the statements and the things I know about different individuals and talk to one of these criminal pathologists or whatever, that say, okay, this fits this kind of a profile, and just see what they think. I mean, it may not go anywhere, but it's dang curious to see if it did help. I mean, you just never know. I mean,
Hey, Mark, James met you. He met you at the meet and greet with Jacob and
Oh, okay.
Lindsay.
Awesome. That's great. I
Do
guess
you
I didn't.
remember him?
I'm not right off the top of my head. I talked to so many people that day for one, but and even since then. But yeah, if we met, that's great. I mean, everybody that was there that day were awesome people, and
Are
it
you
was
part of the Facebook, James? Part of Harry's Facebook page? Maybe you could. Oh, Punksy just dropped the Facebook page again. Thanks, Punksy. Maybe you could reach out to him. He takes private messages, James, and you guys could talk, and that's amazing. Yep, he's part of the Facebook group.
cool, awesome. Yep. Anybody, anything, if you got questions, whatever, sometimes I don't get back to people like right away, but, if you send me a message, I'll definitely, at some point, I'm going to answer you back.
Yes.
Sometimes I get busy with things, and other times, just like say this week, granddaughter comes down, when I get done here, I go in the other room, hang out with them, shut my phone off, just to kind of get away from all this stuff. But, I appreciate everybody and everybody's input, everybody's thoughts, and any resource,
This group tonight is amazing. Out of the Shadows with Ginger says forensic psychiatrist would be awesome to interviewing.
Right. Yeah, whether it's getting them to interview somebody or just have them read the statements, the information that's been provided from somebody, and things that, of course, that's come to me that I know, because people would be shocked to be sitting on my side, because they'll tell me what they know about Harry, or what they think they know about Harry, or bits and pieces of information, and they will also tell me every other secret in the community you could ever imagine. And it's like, I really didn't need to know that, but if that, and I think sometimes it's, they're just trying to what do you call it, make themselves valid, that what they're saying is true, or whatever. I don't know, but you've seen a lot of that when I was in law enforcement, that people will do that just to, they'll tell you something personal about themselves, just to try to make you believe that they're telling you the truth all the time. So it's unreal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I appreciate everybody coming and listening to me talk tonight, and I love all the questions. The more questions, the better, because even with the questions, it makes me think. And it may make me think of looking at something different that I haven't looked at before. And
I can't wait till we start from the beginning with all these people, because Speak Truth with Love, Out of the Shadows with Ginger, Punksy, Anarchy, Jane. I'm telling you, when it's Lori and you and me and Jim and Debbie and Gary, and we're all sitting there, just think 20 more people.
Right. Oh yeah, exactly. I want it to be, 1,000 people,
Exactly.
coming up with ideas and looking at things and saying, hey, wait a minute, and being able, at some point, being able to scream at the world that, hey, wait a minute, this here is not what, what this person has said or done is not the truth.
There's some smart people in this group.
I mean, that's what's going to move mountains, in my opinion.
No, I said it's going to take that one person to see it's right there in front of us, and they're going to say, look, this is this, and it's going to lead us to Harry.
Yep, exactly.
Out of the Shadows with Ginger says, I'd love to look at a typographical map.
Okay. I can probably get one and put it up. I think I can break the whole county down in by the plat book. I think it's the way it's set up, but I'm not positive. I have to look, but like I say, there's so many different things to look at, so many,
38 years worth of it.
38 years of possibilities. At some point, somebody's got to make a mistake. And I really think some people already have. They just don't really know it. And I think when we get this all laid out the way it needs to be, it's going to draw a pretty clear picture.
I agree, Mark. I agree. So we will get another video scheduled. I'm going to get going. I got to take Gypsy outside.
Yeah.
And anyways, I appreciate you guys being here. You have no idea how much it means to me and how much it means to Mark and his family. And we're going to schedule another one, and we're going to start from the beginning. And I will be thankful for anyone to come in and help us out with this.
Yep. Thanks, everybody. I definitely appreciate it.
Yep. Thanks, Mark.
And thank you, Allison.
Yep. You have a good night.
You've always been in my corner, so that's, hopefully that never changes. So.
I'll always be in your corner. I'll always be in Harry's corner.
Yep. So, all right. Everybody have a great night.
Thanks, guys.
Yep,
Good night.